Right, I'm doing a garden lighting job today. I've got some LED strip. The client's organising all the materials. This is going to go on the step. They've just sent the wrong measurement. That's 9mm, it should be 19mm. But basically there's going to be some LED tape on the end of this patio step all the way along, like that. But the proper stuff's coming tomorrow. They just sent the wrong stuff. Having on the back here 2 like Hudson spots either side of that planter, and then up on top of the soffit, as you can see, I've just put the profile trunking in all the way along the back there. It's going to be LED tape, all dimmable, made by, I think it's arc LED, on dimmers and on a remote and stuff, and it's all going to be fed from in the garage. There's the Hudson lights going to go on that planter, and then I'm going to get an adaptable box. It's going to house all of this, the drivers and the dimming module and the remote and stuff, which is the remote is somewhere here. This is a like arc LED remote, but all of that is going to be mounted somewhere up here in a big adaptable box. And then I'm going to do some, you can see the patio just there. I'm going to come out with conduit and Copex, come down, drill through, put a little whisker box underneath the patio, and probably some gel in there for the patio lights. And then for the Hudson lights over the back, come out of my adaptable box, come down in the corner of the garage and conduit, drill through at an angle, and then lift up some patio slabs under here, carry some Copex under, and then maybe to that post over there and behind. And then just for future maintenance, there's going to be some steel wrapped in around these plants. So I've suggested we take this planter bit down, cut a big like hole saw out the wood, and then put the planter back, so there's a bit of access for future to get to the junction box of the Hudson lights in case they ever go faulty. And the same over here, but I'm probably going to Copex under the bottom and then come up and then cut a hole behind this fabric stuff for the plants, and then mount the box on the back. But you can get to it if you take down these planters. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. It's going to be really cool when it's all lit up and all done. Just need to get my finger out, but the client has done a really good job. They've organised all the materials. I'm just here to fit it all. Arc LED, Hudson. We're going to get some Quintec transmitters and switches as well, because the arc stuff doesn't work with the Hudson. So you're going to have a separate switch for the back planters and a separate switch for this soffit lighting and the patio lighting. So as I said, I've just made a start, just figuring it all out. I'm going to probably put you on a time lapse and I'll let you know where I've got to. That's my rough plan. That's my rough idea of what I'm going to do. It may change. It's always sometimes a bit fluid. So I'll come back in a few hours and we'll see how far I've got and if the plan's changed at all. So yeah, see you in a bit. Will just mention one quick tip about the lid and basically trunking in general. So we've got, I think it's about 7 meters. So it's a 2 meter strip, 2 meter strip, 2 meter strip, and then it's like a ½ meter at the end there. So what I like to do, because I hate seeing the trunking and the lid end at the same point and you have this line. So I'll work in the opposite. So I'll start with a 2 meter section down there, so it overlaps the joins and the trunking. I do the same with mini trunking or any kind of trunking. I hate seeing the lid and the trunking landing at the same point, so overlap. So I'm going to reverse, start with a 2 meter section and work my way back, and then have a cut at the end. Anyway, that's my 10 pence for the day. That the Hudson light and stuff, it probably could be compatible, however it's not dimmable. Just to go back to what I was saying earlier, it's not dimmable, so it won't work with the arc LED dimmable remote. So it probably could, it'd be fine if the client wasn't dimming it, but because they are, I can't wire that in with this. So that's why I'm getting a Quintec for this and then using the arc LED stuff for this, just to clarify. Right, drilling the hole for the LED tape is going to go underneath the patio, or clipped onto the back of the patio with this this stuff here, but the bigger stuff. I'm going to do a bit of Copex. I'm going to use some of the Whisker's new IP rated brace stuff through underneath the tiles, and then underneath this final tile I'll put a whisker box with some gel in and stuff, and then wire the LED tape to that box there. And then I'll go straight into a bit of rigid conduit as it comes out, go straight up, and then go into the adaptable box that's going to be up there. These are the new Whisker brace IP rated stuff, so I'm going to use that today. I mean, I'm going to do my OCD in because I'm going to have a black whisker box down there onto white Copex, but it's going to be under the tiles, you know. Hopefully no one's going to judge me. Yeah, there's no difference to the actual Copex, but yeah, that'll clamp round. You see the seal in there, and there's a seal there, and I'll get that on that box. I'll get that ready. This stuff is not coming till tomorrow because they've sent the wrong size, so I'll get the wire in for now and we'll connect up tomorrow. I've got this drawer tape. It's made by Draper. It's about $5.99 on Amazon. So brilliant when you're doing any conduit or Copex stuff. You know, we've all tried it where we tried to get the cable down first and then we ultimately give up and go and get the drawer tape. But for $5.99, it's one of those little cheap things I would definitely recommend you getting to help you pull through stuff. Got the cable out there, I've fed it down, so hopefully my mate will tape on and I'll pull it out. I've got some Prysmian 1mm. It's going to go down into a whisker box under there and then connect the tails of the LED tape onto that. And then up here, it's going to go into a great big adaptable box, which has turned up. It's a little bit larger than I wanted it to be, but yeah, I'd rather have a bit more room. No one's going to see it. It's going to be up in the loft. This up in the future is going to be boarded with the brickwork exposed on the columns, and then the ceiling's going to be boarded, but there's going to be a loft hatch, so I'll be able to climb up and maintain it if there's any problems replacing drivers, etc. So yeah, I'm going to leave enough slack to go up here somewhere, and I'm going to mount a bit of wood. Oh, got a thumbs up, right. See how good I can do this. One-handed, look at that. Point of view. Right, I've got also another little trick I do when I'm using Copex and whisker boxes. It's not that often that I use Copex and whisker boxes. Generally it's like a conduit or cable. But if I am using Copex, just to help with the IP rating, I'll show you what I mean. Is what I do is the thread of the actual Copex gland, I just cut a few threads off, and then on the whisker box I will, on my driver, I just pop the membrane like that, and then I'll put that, screw the thread on, but because I've cut off a few threads, it doesn't actually pierce the whisker box, you can see. So now I've still maintained, although it's still IP rated, and I am using a whisker brace gland, but you can just use cable, you can just pierce the membrane and it's still, I think it's like IP 50 something if you just use the membrane. However, I always like to use stuffing glands and things like that. But it just helps with a bit of extra IP rating. And then this cable will go through the piercing of the membrane that I've just done, like that. And I'll do the same with the LED tape. I'm going to get a stuffing gland, a black stuffing gland, and I'll just pierce the membrane, chop some of the plastic threads off, so it doesn't fully smack through the gland or the membrane, the thread. Stick that in there like that. Goes on like that, and you can see inside the box there, it's just pierced the membrane rather than actually fully. You know, when you normally wind in a full-blown 20mm stuffing gland or whatever, it goes right through it and ruptures the whole thread. It's still probably IP rated, but just that little bit, having the membrane just pierced instead and cutting the thread off, just acts as a little bit of an extra bit of IP rating, in my opinion. So I'm going to leave that coiled up because the LED tape's not here yet, and I'll leave that. That's going to go under the tiles, and then when the LED tape comes, I'm just going to put a stuffing gland, pierce the end, and then connect the tails probably over here along the bottom of the tiles. Yeah. Right, these Hudson lights, I'm just about to fit them. LED lights come pre-wired with a bit of 2-core flex. I'm taking the membrane, the rubber, out of a standard whisker gland, because that, when you compress that down, the compression won't seal tightly against that flex. It's quite thin. So you can buy, which I've got here. You can buy them individually from CF, but I've got a little pack here, which has got loads of different types. And there's flat twin and earth and stuff like that, 2 twin and earths, and then different sized flexes. I'm going to pop that in its place so it has a better seal when I tighten up the gland. That's the difference between the 2 different glands with the 2 different membranes inside. That's the standard one. Cool, my hands look dry. God, it's cold. I need to get some hand cream on them. And that's the new rubber one that I put in, the smaller version that you can buy in the kits. You can see the difference between them. But this is going to be my little hatch behind the this like planter stuff, this wall planter stuff. There's going to be a little hole there, and there's my brace whisker Copex. Mate's just laying the tiles back down. And these Hudson lights have got to be wired in series, not in parallel. If you wire it in, it'll still work in parallel, but they're just dimmer. They'll dim. So for optimum performance, you've got to wire them in series. So it means my line in, which obviously is going to be my 12 volt or 24 volt, I can't remember what it is. So my positive into the first light, there's the red there, goes into that light, comes out on the black, and the black goes into the positive of the next light over there somewhere, and then back on the black, and then returns on the blue, which is going to be the negative. So what I'm going to do is I'll chuck that, put that all in there, and I'm going to hide that. It will go in, I did check, like that, and a little screw just to hold that against that fence there. So if ever they need to get to it, they know that behind this planter is the connection box. Oh, I'm going to lose it, I'm going to lose it. Is the connection box. The reason I'm doing it like that is because the client in the future is going to build, there's going to be like a surround, a steel surround. So these will eventually move, they'll think they'll go on the steel, but I won't be able to mount anything on the steel, and I don't really want to hide it down here. Well, basically the cable isn't long enough to go down to there. I could extend each of them, I suppose, and come down, but this is always going to be here. It's going to be planters, so little window into a junction box for future maintenance and replacement.
Hold the house while some sleep. Nice and near your feet.
Right, it's all back up. You see the 2 lights out there. Just washing all this down because muddy boots getting up those tiles. Right, I'm just setting up my box. I've got one more thing. I've got kinetic transmitter to fit for the Hudson Lightning driver, so it's got to somehow go in here. But the mains feeds the driver, and then output of the driver feeds the remote controller, and then output goes to the LED tape. So roughly something like this. There, and then up there. And I'm just going to do a load of stuffing around at the top. There's a fuse connection unit going to go to the side to control it, turn it all off and on. But I'll figure that all out. Right. I'm almost done for today. I have to do a couple of little extra bits, like they want to two-way the garage lighting, so I'll pop that in, a bit of conduit. They also wanted an extra, they're going to future, this is going to be boarded, and they want to put track lighting in, so I put another cable in over there. We'll use the existing one for one side of the track, and a new one I've just pulled in, just looped up there, to do the other side of the track, because notoriously track lighting is a pain to terminate into, especially with two. I've got all my cabling up there. I've done the connection for, well, they've also asked for an extra socket, so there's a radio circuit here, so I'm going to chop into that with a Hager box straight through, and then conduit down the wall and end box straight through, and then put a Hamilton double the other side. Metal saddles, as you can see on all my conduits. That's for the Hudson lighting on the back. That's all done, as you see. Oh, and they've also asked for an outside light. So I'm going to put a little whisker box there. So yeah, I had planned just to do the garden lighting, Hudson lighting, the stuff on the bottom of the patio, and this run of LED tape here. But I've had to do a few extra bits, and it just made sense to do it now rather than doing all that and then doing this, as I got all the stuff out and all the gear out, and I'm running cables around. So yeah, this is going to be a permanent supply fed. Again, I've wired that directly from that switch over there, and there's going to be a sensor and a light up there, a bit of conduit through the wall, as you can see. So extra socket, track light, and I've got my, so that's all in. My patio slab, that's ready for tomorrow when the profile stuff turns up. Can't do anything until it turns up. Can't do that anyway. And then up here, I've only briefly, let me get my torch out. I've only just slung the cables in, but fuse connection unit, done a bit of metal clipping with my cable stapler, and then I've got all the cables in for all the drivers. I just need to do all the interlinks, so I'll do that tomorrow now. But yeah, let's tidy up and get home. Right, I've got a switch fuse spur, gonna go here, which is fed from, there's a 3-amp fuse connection unit down at the front of the garage, which is fed from a fuse connection unit from the house, on a 13-amp fuse connection unit from the house into the garage, and then that carries on and does the sockets in the garage, and then there's a fuse spur goes down to a 3-amp, which then does the lights in the garage. I've just put a bit of local one up here because you might not, if you want to work on this, you might still want the lights in the garage below, so I've just got a bit of local isolation, so when this is all boarded, I can climb up in the loft and turn this off to work on it. So, fuse connection unit going in there. I just picked up a Kinetic transmitter and a switch for the client for the Hudson lighting at the back of the garden. That's going to go probably there somewhere, probably. That'll be in the house. And then I've got the arc LED drivers and stuff here. Just looking at their instructions, looks straightforward enough. Single colour LED. I think it's warm white. I think she's got power supply into the side here. The output then, the driver then feeds this controller up here. If you can read that there. And it looks like single colour LED strip. It's 4 channels, but they're only going to be using 1 channel. So it looks like all in the pause. So my twin and earth that goes down to this LED tape, brown will go in the pause, and the blue can go anywhere on any of these negative terminals. Looks like. There's how to set it up. So I've got 2 of these, so one for the soffit LED strip and one for the tile LED strip, and then the Hudson one is just going to be feed into the, where am I talking? Feed to the transmitter, and then the outgoing way on the outgoing, the Hudson lights are going to go on the outgoing way of that kinetic transmitter. I've got a bigger driver for the longer strip of LED tape, which is the 7 meters of LED strip along the soffit, and then the smaller one, that's for the tile, because it's only, I think it's a 5 meter run. I'll put it on a time lapse, I'll wire this all up, and we'll program it and set it all up. The profile LED tile stuff hasn't turned up yet, and I've got a feeling that's going to come late in the day, so I probably won't get it done today. So I might have to do that last little bit on another day, which is a shame, but let's crack on. Right, that's all done. You can see I've got mains in from the fuse connection unit into the first driver, and I've just terminated the CPC because nothing else needs a CPC, especially the drivers. They don't have any CPC terminal, there's no need for it. This is an enclosure which you'll require a tool to gain access to, so hence I've just used basic insulation between the drivers. So yeah, I've just terminated that there, and then feeds the driver, and then there's extra low voltage. I've tried to keep them separate. Extra low voltage to feed this controller, which then is the outgoing way. That is the soffit lighting, because that's the 7 meter, that's the bigger driver one. And then this driver then feeds this driver, the primary side, and then carries on round to the Quintec driver, Quintec transmitter, which then goes off to do the driver that feeds the Hudson line at the back of the garden. And I've only put that on it doesn't need CPC sleeving because it's extra low voltage. However, all the others have little enclosures. This was the only one where the terminals just come in the back. Like you can't house any external sleeving, which it is extra low voltage, but I put a Wago on it just rather than leaving a bare conductor sticking out. So then the secondary of this driver then feeds the controller, which then that goes off to the tiled LED tape, and that has turned up actually. The DX have turned up with the LED profile tile edging strip, so I can put that on now and get this all powered up and working. But yeah, that's the final, that's what it looked like. And I've got the lid down there, I'll pop the lid on, stick a couple of labels on as well, danger, 230 volts, etc. Or 230, yeah, did I say 230? Yeah, 230 volts. Sometimes I slip into old school and say 240. And then we'll power it all up. I think we just need to link these, these two to the Arc LED remote, and then that one's pretty straightforward, but we'll go through that in a sec. This stuff from Arc LED, the client's organised all this. The client's done a really nice job, to be fair, of her whole garden, and yeah, she's found this, and it's like a tile edging strip. So it sits in LED tape you can put in the bottom there, and it's like a nosing bead, I suppose, and it's going to go over like that. Just showing it down a bit. So it's going to go on like that with the LED tape on the underside of it, and it's going to clip on like basically be like a bead, a bit of beading along the edge there of the tile, all the way along, and then with the LED strip below. I think that's a really cool little product. I've not seen that before. So yeah, fit that, see how it goes on. Right, Quintec, very straightforward to connect up. Press and hold 3 seconds, it starts flashing, and then once it's in pair mode, just click it and it works. So hopefully this should be paired. I've just got to link the Arc LED stuff, which I've not quite done yet. I haven't read through the instructions, but hopefully this should. Nice, you see them there. Oh, Something over here. Nice. Lovely. So, fairly straightforward again with this, but I hadn't installed this type of controller and remote from Arc LED before, which is what the clients provided. But it is just, there's a matching button. See that button there? Press match. It goes into like a pair mode, and you press whichever zone you want it. So I've done the soffit is zone 1 and the tiles is zone 2. So quick match press and then press on, or I think press on, is it? On, yeah, press the on or off button or on off key. And in this one, press match, press the on and off key. So it pairs. So hopefully we should now, with our remote, this should be this one. Come on. Ooh. There you are. And then the one down here. Oh yeah, I can see it. It did come on. It's hard to tell, but it is on. It'll probably look a lot nicer in the dark. Obviously, I might pop back to do a quick video and a picture. These conduit little stubs, I've just propped this profile on because the edging, the nosing is just slightly too tight, and so I've suggested to the client perhaps either get a taller one or use some adhesive and glue it on, because I don't want to break these porcelain tiles. I already broke one yesterday. It feels like it might go, it just feels a little bit too tight. You might need to just knock it in with a hammer, but I'm just not too keen on doing that. But the client, who is very sound, has said, I'll do it, just cut it to length, cut the LED tape to length, cut the profile trim to length, and terminate it, or get it all working, and I'll trim it in. So I've just put the conduit stubs in just for now, just to show what it would look like. So hopefully if I turn this off, should over there we go, it's dimming, you can see it dimming off. That's good. And then this one up here, that one dims off. Wicked, nice one. Alright, just labelled up the top of the box 230 volts, because it wouldn't be expected perhaps to know that there was that kind of equipment in here. Just sticking the last few labels on the drivers and stuff, so just for anyone who comes up here. It might be me, but plant lighting at the back, the patio lighting at the bottom, and then the soffit lighting there. I will say I'm not bothered about overheating, putting an enclosure on top. I know a couple of people mentioned before when I've done this in an adaptable box about heat. We're talking less than 20 watts of lighting, so it's not going to kick out loads of heat. I'm not worried about putting this in an enclosure. I have done it before when I fitted some, but it was big plant equipment, or it was some inverters for some plant equipment. I fitted little grills. You can buy little like 40mm, 50mm grills to go in big boxes to help with airflow, but not for this, not in a domestic setting, garden lighting. There's less than 20 watts. I'm happy. I'm not going to put anything, a grill in or anything like that. So yeah, get this on and go home. I'll have lunch and then go home.